The next chapter of the audiobook, The Go-Giver, is Gus. Gus left Joe alone that afternoon. He sensed the younger man needed some space. He didn't know exactly what had happened, but he suspected that Joe was experiencing the cleaning pain of honest self-reflection. As 5 o'clock approached, Gus closed up his desk, switched off his lamp, gathered up his things, and padded over to pluck his tweed jacket from the coat rack. Gus, he turned and saw Joe looking at him. The young man looked pensive. No, it was more. He looked positively country. You have a minute. Gus left his jacket on the rack. Sure, he took a seat next to the Joe's desk, folded his hands and looked up. Joe came around the desk, pulled a chair over and sat down next to Gus. I need to tell you something, Joe paused. Gus waited. You have been good to me ever since I first got here, and I have ever thought of you as, well, a little knave. Old fashioned, you know? Gus nodded. I never believed the rumor about you, said Joe. I mean the ones about them just keeping you on out of loyalty. And I never believed the other rumors either, the ones about how successful you have been. But that part is true, isn't it? These 5 laws, all Pinder's stuff about giving. You know all this stuff, don't you? Gus regarded Joe for a moment before answering. I had been very fortunate in my career, he began, and yes, I have been to the Stone Mansion and learned those same lessons you have been learning from this week. Gus looked at his hands, then back at Joe. Let us see. Today being Thursday, I am going to guess that you have just heard about the 4th law of stasis for success. Joe nodded. Authenticity, and now I am supposed to figure out some way to apply it. Gus pursed his lips thoughtfully. Well, seems to me perhaps you just did. Joe stared at Gus for what seemed like an entire minute. Gus smiled back, unblinking. It's you, isn't it? Joe said softly. You are the connector. Gus unfolded his hands, leaned back in his chair, scratched his head, looked out the window, then looked back at Joe and spread out his hands. You got me? I met your friend Pinder 35 years ago, introduced him to Sam Rosen a few years later. A few years after that, I invested a few dollars and bought both men hot dogs at a neighbor's stand. I knew about that hot dog lunch turned out to be a very productive investment. He gave Joe a moment to digest this information, then continued. A little over 10 years ago, I introduced Ernesto Ifrat and his wife to Deborah Davenport, the woman who sold my wife our house. Unless I missed my guess, you probably heard her speak earlier today. Dazed, Joe just nodded. A few years later, when some young friends of mine wanted to form their own software company, I introduced them to Sam, who gave them financial advice. Sam Pinder and I invested in Nicole Martin's little venture and we did well, just as we did with Ifrat's Cafe. Noting Joe's open mouthed stare, just laughed a little self-consciously. I don't know, I just keep finding good horses to back. I have always been pretty lucky that way. He looked Joe in the eye and Joe understood that he was saying he considered Joe to be the one of those good horses too, and that it had been nothing whatsoever to do with luck. I don't get it, Joe blurted out. Forgive me for putting this so bluntly, but you must be worth millions. Gus gazed at Joe with an intensity Joe had never seen in the old man's face before. This is something I consider very, very private, but I had liked to share it with you now and trust that this will be confidential between us. My net worth? Joe nodded. Gus named a figure. Joe's knees went weak. But why do you still work here? Why do you still work at all? Before Gus could answer, Joe held up one hand. No, don't tell me. I will bet I know. He thought about Gus' long, rambling conversation, his easy manner with potential clients, his erratic, extended vacations. He smiled. You just love what you do. You love talking with people, asking them questions, learning all about them, finding ways you can help them, serve them, fill a need, share a resource. Gus stood up, ambled over to the coat rack, retrieved his tweed jacket, and winked at Joe. An old man's gotta have some fun. As Gus walked to the elevator door, Joe smiled and called out, "See you at lunch." Gus turned and looked back at Joe, puzzled. Lunch? Joe chuckled. Oh no, this time I have it figured out. You are the connector, right? So you are my lunch date at Pinder's tomorrow. The Friday guest. Aha, the Friday guest. Gus gave a little laugh. Me? No, it's not me. He laughed again and stepped into the elevator, talking to himself as he went. The Friday guest. Now that should be fun.